episode 3606, Don't Forget to Remember.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Kristianne Wargo.
Happy day. I hope you're having a fabulous start to a brand new week. Yes, with a new day brings new mercies, and it gives you an opportunity to really sink your heart into what you want to do this season. Hey, don't forget to remember. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already had the opportunity, you want to head on over to createyournow.com, where you can learn more and sign up for the Kisses newsletter, the Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. I really do pray that you had a fabulous weekend. It's kind of hard to come off. It's not quite a longer weekend, but I think with all the football games, did you watch all the championships? I mean, between the Big Ten, the SEC, I mean, all of them were so good. The Big 12, it was like, you're just kind of on the edge of your seat. And did you watch the NFL games? Okay, I know, maybe a bit of a hangover when it comes to football, but good games are always good. But let's get to the game of life. Where are you playing now? What does your score say? I've been hanging around with my grandson, and he looks at the score, and it's great because he's learning all of his numbers. And he's like, Grandma, which team is winning? And so I have him look at the score. I want him to learn the higher numbers. And we don't necessarily go into the names of the actual teams. We just look at color. So it's like the blue team and the white team, or the red team and the yellow team, whatever it is. And we look at the screen, and I think it's great. And the crazy thing is we started talking about football when he was born. Grandma would walk him and walk him and walk him, and I would be watching football, and we would be doing numbers as he got older, and he just learned all about kind of the game of life in a manner that's a little bit different than most. And I think for us, if we were to look at our life when we get up in the morning and say, you know what, how am I going to play today? Am I going to play so-so? Am I going to be crabby? Am I going to be kind of wearing a chip on my shoulder? Am I going to say, you know what, this is all about me? Because one of the things I think we end up falling into, kind of a trap, is that we remember everyone else's goodness, but we leave behind the stuff that matters most to our own hearts. Leave the criticism behind, shut the door to excuses, and don't forget to remember the good in all you do. Because when you are living in a world filled with deadlines and responsibilities and distractions, let's just name it: family, kids, spouse, job, family, kids, spouse, maybe community, church, family, kids, spouse. You get the drift, right? The trash people, it's not a big deal to take your trash out, is it? Like literally, like to sit there, because most of us don't like garbage day. Who wants to take their trash out? If you live in an apartment, sometimes it's easy because you can just take your trash any single time that you want. In fact, do you know my kids? I've got a couple of them living in apartment complexes, and it is hilarious. I just have to share the story with you. It's hilarious. They actually have a valet service, kind of a valet service for your trash. Like 5-6 days a week, they come to your door and they pick up your trash. You leave it there in a can that they provide, and they take your trash for you. I'm like, are you serious? I mean, really? Okay. And then you wonder why, if you're older like me, we had to take the trash out ourselves, whether it was raining, snowing, icy outside, you name it, cold, hot. We took the trash out ourselves. No wonder why we don't like trash days. But nowadays, they just come to your door and take it already. I guess that's called the good old days, or maybe not. But when you are living in this world that everybody's doing everything else for everybody else, and maybe even for you at times, but when it comes down to you looking at yourself in the mirror, it's usually tougher for us to look at our own selves with the eyes of kindness, with the eyes of, wow, you are gifted, you are talented. And I'm not saying from an egotistical point of view, okay? You can't be, this nose stuck up in the air high school person who's like, oh, look at me. I am the one. Yeah, you got it. I wear the crown. I know who's number one. Now, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about respecting yourself to the point where you know what you have to offer. And that's important because if we're not careful, oftentimes we find ourselves remembering everyone else's achievements, everyone else's kindness, while forgetting to acknowledge our own growth and accomplishments. But what if you shifted your perspective and chose to focus on the good within yourself? What if you chose not to forget what truly matters? Leave the criticism behind and don't forget to remember the good in all you do. That, my friend, is where power is. There's power when you open yourself up to evaluating how you see your journey up until this point and where you are in this season of your life. Instead of dwelling on your shortcomings, celebrate your progress and your resilience. That is your kiss to keep it simple strategy. Celebrate your progress. It's not about going, oh, I just didn't make it. Yeah, you're going to have those moments. You're going to have those moments where you go to kick the extra point and it doesn't go through. How many kickers go through that? It's kind of weird looking at the scores and sometimes you're like, how did they get to that number? Oh, they must have had a safety, or they had an extra point that was missed, or whatever it is. And I think we go through life that way too. Man, if I just would have. You can't live in the would have, should have, could haves, because that's just going to put you 6 feet under faster. So you got to celebrate your progress, whatever that looks like. And to keep a level head and inspire your creative spirit, it's vital to embrace who you are and who you are becoming. So what does that look like in real life? How do you show up being kind to yourself? How do you have that self-compassion? How do you say, you know what? I do have something to offer the world, not in a manner that's like, look at me, even though there are times I know in secret you do that. I won't tell anybody, I promise. Why? Because we're all human. We all do that at some point. You got to kind of talk yourself up a little bit, but not to the point where it goes your head, because you want to be humble and kind. Right? Yeah. Great song, by the way. Number 1, practice daily reflection. This is huge. This truly is huge. I have been doing it for basically my entire life. I kid you not. I think I've shared on here before where I have laid down at different stages and ages of my life. I mean, I can remember in high school, I would do this. I remember in middle school, even probably towards the end of elementary school, I can go that far back to where I would sit there and replay things in my head and say, how could I do this better? How can I be a better friend? How can I show up differently? Now, some people would say that's people pleasing. You could take it to that side, yes. But you can also take it to the side of daily reflection. What can I do better? So take a few moments each day to reflect on your achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Celebrate the obstacles you've overcome and the lessons you've learned along the way. Choose to show up in a manner that serves your heart well. Okay, this is out of kindness. This is out of compassion. This is out of what? Eating humble pie. Yep, we just came out of Thanksgiving. This is the dose of humble pie. This is not of saying, ho. No, it's humble pie. And by acknowledging your growth, you pave the way and set the beauty to inspire yourself. That's self-empowerment. And here's the thing. As you are going through life and you have these reflection moments, and they should be daily. I really believe they should be daily. I lay down and I do my daily reflection and I do my gratitude and I do my prayers. It's all part of this whole thing that I do. Now, do I actually write it all down all the time? No. But I've been told many, many times I have the brain of an elephant. And so it's just the way my mind works. That's all I'm going to say, because we'll be here forever talking about it. And mind you, this is not about me, right? Okay, right? Okay, get there. Got it? Celebrate your progress, not my progress. So practice that daily reflection. See where you stand out and see maybe where you fell flat, but don't hang out where you fell flat longer than where you rose up. There's a difference, okay? Number 2, cultivate a gratitude journal. And what I mean by that is I want you to really look at gratitude differently. A lot of people, I think, oh yeah, I'm grateful for, we just kind of ramble things out. I don't want you to do that. I really want you to take it to heart. I want you to understand that feeling, that connection. Why are you really grateful? When you're going through a difficult time, gratitude is your oxygen. Think about that for a moment. So if you're in a moment of, my life is great, you probably are thinking, I don't need to be grateful because my life is great. But what happens when things aren't so great? You need to find the silver lining. And if you practice that daily, in my opinion, that expands your heart. It expands your passion. And more importantly, it expands your purpose in your presence in this earth on which you walk. So cultivate that gratitude journal, right? Jot things down that you're grateful for, that you really say, Lord, thank you so much for this. And this practice can truly shift your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in your life. Don't forget what needs to be remembered. Now, one thing you can do here, and I've talked about this before, but why not bring it up again? And you can make it a Christmas jar this time. But we talk about cookie jars. Okay, I'm all about the sugar. I love sugar. But what about sugar for the heart? I'm talking about the gratitude. Why not have a joy jar? Something that somebody says something to you, write it down, throw it in your joy jar. Everybody in your family can have a joy jar. Who needs flour and sugar and all of that on your counter? Instead, replace them with joy jars for each people in your household. Let me tell you, it will be life-changing because when you have a day, you can come to that joy jar, pull it out and be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. I was reminiscing with my mom a few days back. And I said, do you remember when I did this hospitality thing when we were in Hawaii and I was growing up? And actually, I was in high school. And they only picked a certain amount of seniors. Seniors could go. And I was chosen from my school to represent my entire school. And so it was very, very exclusive. Now, I'm not saying that to boast myself or anything like that. That's not it at all. But what I'm saying is when my mom and I were talking, she's like, oh my goodness, I totally forgot about that. I said, I know, well, it just dawned on me. You see, my aunt and uncle are having their 50th wedding anniversary coming up. And so they've got a lot of things going on and they're dealing with event planners. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember all of this. And I've done event planning for years and actually more like decades. And so, but to go back and reminisce saying, oh my goodness, it started way back when I was actually like literally trained and I hadn't even graduated high school. Yeah, that's going back. That's a gratitude, right? So when you go into that joy jar and you pull that out and you're like, you learned to be kind to someone else who had a bad day. And then they were grateful for you. Maybe you made their bed nicely. Maybe you made a compliment to them, right? I mean, in the hospitality world, it's all about how you show up and being grateful. And a lot of times we just don't learn that. Expressing gratitude opens the door to sincerity, authenticity, and contentment. Think about that one. Chew on that for a little bit. And then finally, number 3, surround yourself with positivity and not just anything. I'm not talking about the woo-woo stuff. I'm talking about the real stuff that grounds you, that grounds your heart. Surround yourself with uplifting quotes. Get to your joy jar. Maybe it's affirmations. Or it could be maybe people who support your journey. You've got mentors or coaches. You're reading books that lift you up. I have 2 different ways on how I read books. One side is for when I interview people. I make all my tabs that way. And then on the top, I make all the tabs for me personally. Yep, now you have it. There's my secret. So any book that I've done some heavy digging into and reading, you'll find those double sets of tabs. And now, well, if you ever come to my place in my library, you'll know, and you could pull a book and be like, oh, this is what she meant. I would encourage you to do the same thing. If you read a book and it's like, oh, I've got this, write it down, mark it, put it up, make yourself a quote board, whatever it is, so you can see it over and over and over again. Create a positive environment that nurtures your creative spirit and encourages self-love. Choose not to forget the good within you. You can do this. You get to do this, but will you choose to do it? That's the difference. It's a choice. And by fostering a positive mindset, you get to grow and experience transformation. Here's a thought for you. And I really want you to think about this. I'm sincere about this, totally. A lot of times we are looking to everyone else to be everything for us. We want to feel good. We want to be well known. We want to be recognized. We want to have all the likes. We want to go viral. And so we look to everyone else to give that to us. Can I just remind you that the only thing you need is God's approval? You're enough, my friend. So be careful about what you seek, because sometimes what you seek may not be actually what you need to find that does your heart good. Be purpose-driven in your presence and really look at how you're leading your life and saying to yourself, can I take these words, connect them to my mind to think what needs to happen so I can live the life God is creating for me here on earth? Because you see, God's got divine heavenly plans for you here on earth, but you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to show up. You can do this. You get to do this, but will you choose to do it? Oh, don't forget to remember, because as you know, the critics and criticism will always be, but you choose how to be present, be incredible, be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed day. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.